To the man who communed with Jehovah, Jesus anointed that prophet and seer. Blessed to open the last dispensation.
Siren Theater! Thank you so much for being here. How are you? Hey, Mel, you're dressed pretty interestingly.
Sarah, I thought that we had an agreement. I thought that we were both wearing our sister wives outfits today.
Oh, see, when you said we should both be sister wives, I thought you meant like spiritually,
Oh,
not with the outfit.
great. Well, now I'm sealed to Barry for time and all eternity, so...
Can I get in on, is he looking for another wife?
Yeah, well, are you under 22?
On my driver's license, yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll introduce you after the show.
Okay.
Barry! Oh, sorry, he's with Marguerite right now, but we'll get to it
we'll wait
later.
till they're done.
Hi!
Right up top, we want to give the Siren Theater a huge thank you for letting us perform this sacrilegious nonsense here. Please give it up for the Siren Theater. Shelley London, letting us all congregate here so we can recruit you to Mormonism tonight. That's what you all about tickets, right? Clap if you were at the show in March. Okay, cool. So folks, clap if this is new for you. You haven't been... Oh my God! Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
Acolytes in the room. Okay.
Awesome. So Mel and I, we met through the comedy scene accidentally, and we both got to talking, and we're like, oh my God, we're both former Mormons. What? Like, I don't know, if you're not part of the Mormon culture, finding another one outside of Utah it doesn't happen. Like, we're all everyone's in their homes not talking about our childhood experiences, pretending like they didn't happen. So it's like pretty interesting.
Yeah, like every college party as a Mormon outside of Utah, you're just like, well, I guess it's my time to sit in a chair while people surround me and listen to tales of magic underwear and get a game. It's a solitary existence.
All right, so I had a huge summer of dating and getting, when I told people that I grew up in Utah, the first thing everyone wants to know about is the magic underwear. Mm-hmm. Everyone is so fascinated by the magic underwear. It's not magic. Who thought it was magic? Clap if you... Okay, that's it. How would you say it's magic? How would you describe it?
Well, I think it's the fact that we say that it protects you against, like, hurricanes and also gunshots.
Gunshots.
And that's why they say
Adamantium special underwear.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty powerful stuff. And so... Yeah, and you're like, hey, what is this thing about? This thing that someone wears every single day beneath their clothing, not only beneath their clothing, but beneath their bras and their underwears. They're actual.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Underwear under your underwear. It's a weird, I don't know.
I had so many memories growing up as a latchkey kid in the 80s and going to babysitters' houses, all Mormon, and I would like some of you accidentally saw Playboys or saw, like adults having the sexual relations, but I would like walk into a room and see a set of temple garments laid out on a bed and just lose my shit because it was like the last
so
thing you were
inappropriate.
supposed to see.
Yeah, it's the same as seeing someone naked, I would say.
Or staring into the face of Jehovah. Not cool.
Yahweh. Yeah.
Not cool. But to that note, staring into the face of Yahweh Jehovah, I just wanted to point your attention to, you might have noticed our glowing red Kool-Aid. No reason it's here, but just feel free to come and...
It's definitely not poison.
Definitely not poison.
It's for sure not poison. It's poison.
But we stirred it this time. We got
complaints after the first show that it had not been stirred. I yanked that thing around so hard in the back. So please have my hard-working Kool-Aid.
Yeah. But Sarah, you know what? I think I hear my wheat.
A calling?
Yeah, I hear my wheat churn calling. I gotta go grind some wheat for the winter.
All right.
So what I'm gonna do is I need some electricity to power the leaf blower.
Because that's how it works.
So I'm gonna unplug this. Also, that means more of you can sit in the front row.
Please,
if you want to.
if anyone is in the back or standing, anything, you are welcome to move up to the front row. You won't get blinded anymore.
I think the punch is heated to a nice temperature of about 112 degrees now.
Sure.
So,
drinkable, yeah.
Hey, Sarah, can you sing Jesus wants me for a sunbeam while I turn off the Kool-Aid.
Oh, we did not talk about this.
Okay, I'll sing it. Jesus wants me for a sunbeam to shine for him.
I forgot this
each
part.
day.
It's been so.
In every way, try to please him. At work, at school, at play. Okay,
Give it up for now! I am going to, oh, by the way, our names. That was Melek Haywood exiting the stage. I'm Sarah Everett. We are going to be co-hosting this show throughout the evening, and I'm going to bring up your first performer. Are you guys ready to get the show started? Our first performer, I'm so stoked that we were graced with her presence for the show. She's one of my favorite people, close personal friend. She has been on Portlandia. She has a music album out called Radio Silence, and she has another album coming out shortly being produced by Portland's own The Thermals. Please give it up for Lucia Fasano!
Green, her aura was green. It was green. Let me get a vibe from here. I sense some spirits, I sense a presence in the room. Maybe like 80 spirits. I hear voices. What? Laughter? See, it's very dark for me. I don't see. Okay, you're all alive. Never mind. I sensed some presence in the room. My name is Lucia. Hi. I am sort of the pagan palate cleanser of the night, basically. My childhood and my relationship with spirituality was very interesting. I was raised Wiccan. I was raised pagan, and what's interesting is it's become very cool right now. I was kind of waiting for that my whole life. I mean, it's, you know, it's a strange thing. Basically, so I was raised by an erotica writing vegetarian from the 80s. Who was a witch, so basically like a Vice writer. That was my mom. A former Catholic. My mom, grew up with nuns. I don't know, watching her change, like a lot of unpleasantness. The Catholic, just a lot of creepiness. So she became a high priestess of Artemis, which made me the little disciple of Artemis. So I'm basically Wonder Woman. That's how Wonder Woman turns out. The proudest I ever made my mom was getting my period on the blood moon. She's like, yes, you did it. So I was raised Wiccan. It was quite, I still feel very strongly about it, very positively, you know. Growing up, it was a lot of fun hanging out with like Ron, Hermione, McGonagall, J.K. Rowling, all of that. But really, like, besides the extreme prejudice that I endured in my childhood, it was awesome. I remember as a kid, I wrote a short story in 3rd grade about a little witch girl, and she was like cleansing her crystals, and it said like, swept out the spirits like most pagan witches do. And I got back my assignment, and it had crossed out pagan, and the teacher's aide had wrote penguin. That's different. So I grew up with a lot of righteous indignation, a lot of just like being mad at the man. I remember in elementary school, I used to wear just sort of like long black dresses, kind of like that. I would just walk around and kids would be like, "Are you a witch?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." No big deal. And they'd be very afraid and they wouldn't sit with me. I remember when we'd have to like stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd always be like, "Under Goddess." That's a very, that was me as a kid. I found a lot of representation through like Kiki, from Kiki's Delivery Service. That's kind of why I wore this. Now now I just drive for Postmates. Just deliver bread. That was my main takeaway from the movie. No, but like I tried to find representation where I could. Anyone remember Strega Nona? Yeah, that's like an old witch lady, an Italian old witch lady, which is basically me. I'm pretty. So what I got from that was like, just eat a lot of pasta. Basically, all my childhood witch influences just involved eating a lot of carbs. That's what I did. It was weird. People talked about us in the neighborhood. My parents also made horror films, not surprisingly. So my house was filled with monster masks and skeletons and other things. So for my brother's Halloween party, we put like a red light bulb in there, which made I grew up in sort of a conservative part of Los Angeles. And so we were in the community pool, and this old lady was talking to my dad and I, was like, those people up the street, they're into some creepy things. We're like, do tell, what house? And they're like, that house with the red light. I know what they do. And she was like, prostitution and witchcraft. It was very weird. This was probably 15 years ago. She was like, the thing is, they're vegans. We just kind of swam away. She opened the door and there's skulls. Lots of things. Yeah, my mom is a Poe scholar as well, studied Edgar Allan Poe. I grew up with a lot of Edgar Allan Poe things in my house, like a portrait of his dead child bride, normal stuff. Blessed be. So I was telling someone backstage, I had a very real fear of tuberculosis. I watched Moulin Rouge, fuck that movie. And I was eating a red popsicle. I spit in the sink. I was like, I've got the tuberculosis. Very panicky, self-righteous kid. But yeah, so around Halloween time, once again, when I was in middle school, my mom was going to come teach the kids about Poe, bring some candy, it was going to be a whole thing. She wore this black gown with a little cape. It was very exciting. And the evangelical kids' family from my class was protesting my mom even coming at the school with her she's a Satanist. She's going to come spread the word of Satan. Everybody's a critic. But luckily the principal was on our side, and the little girl just had to sit outside of the room and not eat candy. When they told the story, I was like, okay. But I grew up with a lot of, spirits were a very real thing. My mom was very much like, don't touch the Ouija board. You don't want to let things in there. I grew up around, have a lot of psychic medium friends, a lot of run-ins with spirits. Holidays were great for self-righteousness as well, because it'd be Easter was Ostara, which was a pagan holiday. Mic drop. A lot of things like that. But what I really loved about being raised Wiccan was just, it's a religion about peace and about empowerment and spreading good in the world. And so that, I still got some of that Catholic guilt, because it was very what I put out comes back to me. I gotta be good. So it was, but it still, it led me to be a good person and be the change I want to be in the world. And over the years, it has become a lot more popular, I've noticed. Wicca and witchcraft and sort of ironic candles, very serious, unironic candles, the works. And I had to talk my mom out of buying a His Infernal Majesty shirt from Hot Topic. She's like, it's a heart and it's a pentagram, wow. Honey, that's some band that you don't know, you don't want to know. But yeah, I guess what I'd love to just spread the good word about just respect nature, love nature, love thyself. And like my mom always said, potions is just an anagram for options. Thank you.
Keeping it up for Lucia Casado! She's great. So I feel like we should probably maybe explain what this show is that we're doing. We're professionals, okay? We should have done that up top.
We kind of assumed you knew
We
because
assumed
of
you
the
knew.
like psychic God connection, but we can also say it for those of you who are identifying as atheist in the crowd currently. This is Cult Status. Welcome. We love you. You love us.
Thank you.
Yes. And Cult Status was started about 9 months ago. It was 6 months ago that we had our first show, and where it came from is there's a lot of damaged people in the world, and a lot of us are damaged.
From religion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are many categories of damage, but a big part of what you have to get over as you're an adult is kind of coming out of religions that are extreme in their belief system, cults, anything that kind of has a groupthink mentality. And it's pretty obvious right now, our national climate, we're dealing with a lot of
Not good.
the fallout from groupthink. And so this show kind of aims to hear the stories from people who have kind of survived situations like that, or in Lucia's case, actually had like a positive experience.
Yeah, we wanted to start out the show with a positive, like, oh, your soul wasn't hammered into the ground by the religious setting that you were raised in. So we appreciate her for that, being kind of the black sheep in our show.
Yeah, so the rest of the stories are just gonna be like real downers.
For sure. Please don't leave. The doors are locked. You can't.
But yeah, we are so excited to bring you the performers that we do have tonight. There's a lot of really interesting stories, a lot of very interesting experiences, and we think that you're gonna get a heck ton, if I may
A
say
heck
so.
ton!
You're gonna get a heck ton of value out of this. But first, you know what I think?
What?
I think we should play a game!
A game?
What?
Let's play a game!
Who wants to play a game? Give me your hand!
Yeah! Okay, so this game that we're gonna play is, it's called Who Said It? Joseph Smith, L. Ron Hubbard, or Jim Jones. Three great men.
Pretty
Three
baller.
white men.
Three white men who know the truth.
Know the truth. And Mel is going to pick a volunteer who wants to come on stage and play the game.
Let me see those hands. You!
Yeah.
You! In the back!
Yeah! Give it up! Oh, it's Rebecca Williams! Hi.
Oh, hi! What's your name?
I'm Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca! Rebecca, do you have any experience in extreme religions or cults?
Not personally. Not really. I'm a Jew from the like upper kind of tier of the Bible Belt in Southern Ohio, and I grew up with a lot of evangelical Christian like classmates and friends, but I was lucky to like not ever have to go through any
So lucky.
personal extremists. But I think this show is really cool because a lot of the like religions from refugees that like a lot of refugees from religions wind up in Portland. So
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
Thank you. Give it up for Rebecca. Okay.
Rebecca, the quote that we will be asking you to determine is, "The greatest responsibility in this world that God has laid upon us is to seek after our dead." Who said it? Joseph Smith, L. Ron Hubbard, or Jim Jones?
Can you say it one more time?
The greatest responsibility in this world that God has laid upon us is to seek after our dead.
Ooh. L. Ron Hubbard.
Incorrect. It was actually Joseph Smith.
We're going to be playing those games in between comics and storytellers all night, so be paying attention to your intuition.
Sarah, I gotta go. Barry needs me to pop some pustules.
Oh,
so I'll
okay.
see you
Is that a
later.
euphemism? I don't know. Okay. Are you guys ready for your next performer? Yeah! excited that they're on this show. They are a local comic book artist, writer, and illustrator. Please give it up for Terry Black.
Hi. I have to admit, I'm a little nervous. I've never done anything like this before. It's my first time doing something like stand-up, but I figured I have this complex where I have to do everything perfect, and I don't know where it comes from. I think it's something like, the technical term is growing up Mormon, or gay, take your pick. But yeah, I wanted to do it right. But on top of being gay and raised Mormon, I'm also Mexican American. I know Terry's a real Mexican name. But that means that growing up in the 90s in Boise, Idaho was super fun. No, you would still be there if it was that awesome. You obviously don't like the smell of cows and mediocrity. But Idaho is basically North Utah. So that explains why I was raised Mormon, I guess. But when you grow up Mormon, you're taught a lot of really strange things. None stranger than any Scientology or Christian or Muslim belief, I think, but I thought just for funsies, since we're all here, I would share what I think are the 4 craziest, wacky Mormon beliefs. So here we go. 1, drinking coffee will send you straight to the fiery pits of a Lord of the Rings style mortar like Hell Dimension. It's true. 2, dinosaurs and other early megafauna are recycled extraterrestrial beings from outer space. 3, after you die, if you've been a super good Mormon, your eternal retirement package involves getting your own planet. If you're a man. Sorry, ladies. And my personal favorite, number 4, being Mexican means I'm a descendant of Jews who left Israel by boat and came to Central and North America only to have their skin cursed darker by God because of their exceeding wickedness. Or as I like to call it, Mexico. An origin story. Part 1. Because every sci-fi fantasy epic today has like 2 parts. There's like Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. There's Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. Yeah, see? It's good. It's true. And then there's Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2. That one's definitely Mormon. Stephenie Meyer, the author of Twilight, is Mormon. And she had the balls, the audacity to say in an interview that one of her idols is Tim Gunn, the obviously gay Project Runway angel. I was so livid when I read that. I started drafting a letter. I was like, "Dear Sister Meyer, how dare you? It's like 10% of your income, Stephenie, 10% of that Twilight money went directly to the Mormon Church, which funded Proposition 8. Shame on you."
Yeah.
But then I read an interview where Tim Gunn said that he never wants to be married, and I was like, "Thanks, Tim." Last time I stick up for you. Yeah, he said that he got his heart broken when he was in his 20s, and that he never dated again, and that he never wants to, and that maintaining a love life with his schedule would just be too difficult. And all I have to say to that is, Tim, make it work. But at least the Twilight craze has died down. Like, it wasn't very good, but at least it was super, super gay. Like when I came out to my sister, without missing a beat, she says to me, "Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?" And I said, "No." Jacob if I must, but yeah, Twilight, I didn't expect to do a Twilight rant, sorry about that, but the best part in the first, I can't stop, the best part in the first Twilight is Stephenie Meyer's blatantly obvious cameo, where in a close-up, she's handed a cup of coffee that's so big, it's like one of those mugs that drag queens hold to make their hands look tiny. This is her cameo. She's like, thank you. I was like, girl, you are not drinking that. You just paid $2.75 for something you're gonna throw in the trash because you're afraid of losing your temple recommend. Like vampires and werewolves and shit like that, I get. But a Mormon drinking coffee takes me right out of that movie. And I drink coffee every day, like every day. You know what else is out? Is tea, like leaf water. I can't imagine being a missionary in like, I guess England, and you finally get someone to let you teach them about the Mormon church, but it comes through like a polite invitation to come over for tea. Like that poor person, this is what they see. Is 7 okay? Yeah, but I drink coffee every day. And I think that it simultaneously messes with your brain when you know that half of your ancestors invented hot caffeinated drinks and the other half are like, it's a sin. Like, I don't know what Joseph Smith had against beans, but Mexicans love them, so. I love how I can tell my parents that I'm gay, but I will still buy gum in the airport on the way home, so I don't have to deal with the aftermath of them finding out I drink coffee. The last time I flew home, I found a whole bunch of my old toys, and they were pretty much all dinosaurs, and My Little Ponies. But yeah, I was a pretty inquisitive kid, and I remember dinosaurs for me didn't seem to jive with what I was hearing in church. Like, I'm not good at math, but the math didn't check out for me. And so I went to my dad, and I remember I said, Dad, the Garden of Eden? And he was like, Jackson County, Missouri, right? Like, you seen that gif of that guy that's like... So, in case you're confused, Mormonism is really strange. I think I should let you know that Mormonism is what happens when you grew up in the old-timey days and you're so bored that after your 50th reread of the Bible, you just start writing fantasy fan fiction. And then your friends and family are like a little too supportive, so you decide to just go with it. I guess to be fair to poor little Joseph Smith, if my dad had asked me to like go plow the fields, I'd have created a fake religion to get out of it too. Yeah, but Jackson County, Missouri. I'm not kidding, Google it. So, Mormons believe that the Garden of Eden, well, first they believe it was real. But the cherry on top of that, or the apple, I guess, is that Mormons believe that a talking snake devil like Voldemort thing and Adam and Eve were romping around all naked in the home of the American Jazz Museum. So anyway, I was like, Dad, Garden of Eden? He said, yep. I said, Adam and Eve? And he said, uh-huh. I said, so, dinosaurs? This is what my dad said to me. He said, well, son, scriptures say that the earth is made of recycled matter, materials and terrain from other places. So dinosaurs were likely creatures that existed on some other planet that was used to make this one by God and Jesus. Yeah, there you go. And I thought, that's a lot of mental hoops to jump through in favor of just believing they existed here. But my dad was super into sci-fi and anything space-like growing up, like Star Trek, and I love Star Trek too, but in '93 this movie came out that my dad really wanted to see because it was full of like alien and human interaction and like aggressive first contact gone wild. I don't know if any of you saw it, it was called Jurassic Park. But that movie was rated PG-13, and my dad, like, he had taught me that as Mormons, we don't watch PG-13 or rated R movies, it's forbidden. But suddenly, like, it was okay. And I did not fight him, because even at that age, I knew that nothing was gonna keep this little queer from seeing the best drag movie ever made later that holiday season, Mrs. Doubtfire. But yeah, so a few months after my dad telling me this sci-fi tale of wonder, things got a little more confusing because this cartoon premiered that I absolutely loved. It was called Dino Saucers, and it was about anthropomorphized dinosaurs from outer space. And they had these suits with like these like buttons on them that if you hit the button like Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On style, like they de-evolved into regular dinosaurs. And I remember at the age of 8 thinking like, we can workshop this, guys. But like comics and cartoons and shows, like they're my life, and they were my life back then too. So much so that when I agreed to go on a mission for the Mormon Church, I cried for like 2 days. Because that meant I was gonna miss seasons 5 and 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayers there, and that is not a fucking joke. Like, Willow just came out of the closet! But I did it, I went on a mission. My parents said that I would bring dishonor to the family if I didn't go. And I was like, dishonor to the family? Like suddenly, I move on. Granted, for 2 years, I did stand in front of a mirror every morning, looking back at a missionary like, why is my reflection someone I don't know? But I did it. Whatever crusty old white dude was running the church that year, he felt with all his heart that God wanted me to go to New York City. So I was like, maybe he is real. But then a few months after I got there, 9/11 happened, so that squashed any belief in God that I ever had. But yeah, when I came out to my dad many years later, he asked me if I had engaged in any homosexual activity while on my mission. And all I could think to say was, I saw The Lion King on Broadway. But it did feel really weird, like teaching people very basic tenets of the church and not getting into the freaky weird stuff like after you die, if you received like 50 gold stars in life, I don't know, if you were a super good Mormon, you get your very own planet. It's very Oprah-like you get a planet and you get a planet. But yeah, Mormons believe that after you die, you can be sealed to your family for time and all eternity. Like, I don't know about your family, but to me that sounds like a fucking nightmare. But yeah, they believe that you can be sealed forever, and that just wasn't cutting it with me. So from there, I pretty much thought that I needed to stop being a missionary, even though I finished my mission, and move to Los Angeles, where I thought I could go to a gay bar. I could finally be myself. And the first time I went to a gay bar, the first person that looks at me walks up to me and says, "You're fat." I didn't know what to say to that, but I decided from then on, well, I guess after a couple of years, that LA wasn't for me, so I moved to Portland. Yeah. Where I met my husband. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I feel like I broke the family seal because I'm gay. I married a man. But I get out of it, so that's fine with me. But yeah, I feel like I finally know what a boring, straight white guy feels like when football season comes back around. Because now I have RuPaul's Drag Race. Drag Race is the best show on TV. The best. I showed my Mormon mother RuPaul's Drag Race, specifically Alyssa and Tatiana's epic All-Stars 2 lip sync. Someone's snapping. Get it. And all she had to say was, "Eso parece que duele," which translates to, "That looks like it hurts." And I couldn't tell if she was talking about like the death drops and the dancing, or just like the act of being a drag queen in general. But she had black beans and rice on the stove, and apparently that was way more interesting to her than men who can shapeshift like Mystique from X-Men. My mom has finally started cooking for me again when I go home. Like after I came out, she stopped, and I just didn't get it. I didn't understand why. She used to make like authentic tostadas and enchiladas and sopes and took like a lot of pride in it. as a Mormon wife. And then after I came out, she stopped. And I remember the first time I came home after coming out, she took a plate of food over to my dad, she set it down, then she looked at me, and she walked away. I was so offended. Like, it kind of hurt, right? I was like, you're my mother. Like, feeding your child should be your most basic instinct. But what she didn't realize was that watching 9 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race is great ammunition for an already gay, hungry Mexican that you are denying food to. RuPaul said that it takes a little bit of intelligence and wit to be sassy, otherwise you're just a bitch. And so I thought, like, what could I do that would be really smart, really funny, to get back at my mom, to show her that, like mine is a special library that's open 24 hours. So I thought real hard, and I came up with a good idea. The next time I flew home, I bought gum in the airport first. Then I drove straight to Taco Bell. Went to my parents' house, and I ate it in front of her. Without praying first. Because my family still prays before like every meal. Like I come home and I forget, I just start eating silly me. And they give me the looks and, you know, for a while I didn't know what to do. I would just stand there like swaying, like waiting for someone to finish thanking God for the salsa and the beans and the rice. And wait for the amen. And I was always taught that amen was like a firm confirmation, right? That it meant like, I agree with everything that's just been said. And so I thought, like, I'm not gonna say amen. Like, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. There's no way I can let them think that I agree with their beliefs, I agree with their doctrine. I put my foot down and I said, no way, no how, I will never, ever again say amen. There's nobody in this great big, coffee-filled, dinosaur recycled world that will ever get me to say amen. But then I thought, if RuPaul asks me if she can get an amen, then she can get an amen. Thank you.
Because Terry, not only a first-time comedian, can you believe it? Give it up for Terry Clark! We pulled a joke on y'all. Terry's actually super famous and has a couple of really cool projects coming up. Terry, can you tell us about what you're working on?
Sure. In April, I have a graphic novel coming out that I wrote. It's a murder mystery at a fat camp. It's called Dead Weight.
Terry, what did you want to call it?
I shouldn't say that. I wanted to call it Morbid Obesity. But that's coming out from Oni Press, which is a local Portland company. And starting tomorrow, there's a crowdfunding campaign for a documentary that I filmed last year called Latter-day Glory, where a friend of mine and I traveled across the country and interviewed over 40 queer ex and current Mormons. I wanted it to be like this road trip movie where we end up going to see the Hill Cumorah patch at like 4 gay dudes. And it turned into a really fun documentary about the suicide rate in Salt Lake City.
It's fun!
But it's a really it's great. But at least it's a really important issue that like
It is.
Salt Lake City has the highest suicide rate in the country for LGBT teenagers.
Yeah, that's true. And the Mormon Church actually, they just had a general conference where they reaffirmed that
Gay people are still evil.
Yep, and that families should do their best to ostracize gay folks. So don't believe any PR that you read about the Mormon faith being better at that, because they're actually...
Because it's a lie.
Yeah, so check out Terry's work. Terry, do you have a website we can check you out at?
Yeah, if you Google my name.
TerryBlast.com.
And I'll have like postcards and stuff after the show and cards with my documentary and book info and stuff.
Sweet! Thank you, Terry! groupthink. We talked a little bit about the children, and you're like, oh, kids are smart, right? They can pick up on untruths. They can pick up on lies. But I put together a little video for you, just in case you're wondering, how can I trick a child? How can I take a hungry young mind, tell it misinformation, and then send them into the world? So without further ado, please direct your attention to the screen. That's a cursor. It's part of science. That is called Filmora Wondershare. It's for poor people who can't afford After Effects. Okay? This is why science and technology are bad, and you shouldn't do them. Do you guys like my Sauconys for Jesus? Barry got these for me. I think they came off of a dead person, but they're good for plowing the fields in. Oh man, Barry, he's, you know, I'm thinking of asking him to remove the lovemaking sheet tonight. Perhaps I can see the full charm of his body as we make beautiful space babies together. But also, I'm sorry if you see any stains on my dress. I'm on my 7th pregnancy. I'm lactating. I apologize. So I'm just going to hold it in a little bit during this film that's going to play.
Sorry.
Exit Chrome. Exit Chrome.
Exit Chrome, Barry. I had some lesbian porn on my laptop, so if you see that, don't tell my mom. I don't think she made it to the show tonight, but you never know with those sneaky, sneaky Mormon mothers. Always peeking around a corner somewhere. Yeah, so... who grew up in a religious environment? Scream. Just... Yeah. Just yell out what it was. Shut the front door! Okay, raise your hand if you grew up Mormon. Let me see. Oh, yeah, dog, what up? Oh my god, check it out. Okay, alright. So you guys want to have a little sing-along after this? Yeah? You want to have a little, like, call to serve him, heavenly King of glory. What else we got? Southern Pentecostal. I don't know that song. Oh, so did you do the snaky bits? No snaky bits. Speaking in tongues, though?
I did personally, but
Oh, witness. Speaking in tongues. That's a good connection. Yeah. Was it? What was the experience like for you?
it was bizarre. I didn't believe it ever really. It just looks like a bunch of adults standing around talking gibberish.
He said a bunch of adults standing around talking gibberish.
And one of them translates the gibberish afterwards. Tells everyone what he's saying.
He says, so it's a bunch of adults standing around saying gibberish, and then one of them translates the gibberish afterwards. Yeah, it's actually not unlike a comedy show. So we're just trying to give you the full spectrum experience. Cool, yeah. You know, I feel it, and then I don't feel it. Hey Dave.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's, like, you know what? This is a teaser. This is what's called a teaser marketing campaign. Don't look at that. Wizard behind the curtain. No, sir. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut this down because it's too special. It's too special. We want to tease you for about 5 minutes. And then we're just going to come back to it at some later date. We're going to call you in a month and say, we got the video working. Can you come back to the Siren Theater? Free LaCroix on me. Come watch this video. Yeah. Hey Dave, let's just shut the screen down. Let's burn my laptop. Let's just let's start a new day together, shall we? Everybody give it up for the video! Yes! Yes! Yeah, I'm pretty good at making videos. I think you can all see that. So I'll give you my website and contact info after the show if you're looking for any collaborators or someone to film your bat mitzvah. I'm definitely the guy for that. So I'm going to bring up our next performer for you. This guy is a pretty cool new friend of mine. I feel really stoked to know him. We met actually at the first Cult Status show, and I'll let him tell you more about that story. But he has a tale to tell that I'm pretty sure no one here has really heard before. So I'm not going to be all namby-pamby about it. I'm not going to chit-chat for another 10 minutes about how cool this guy is, because I think you're just going to feel it when he walks onto the stage. Please, give it up for Jefferson Hawkins.
So how's everybody doing? Do you guys remember the video they were showing you when you walked in before the show? Yeah. Okay, funny story on that. I came to the last Cult Status show, and I was sitting in the audience like you are, waiting for the show, and they were playing this video. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, I produced some of those videos. I'm not kidding. For my cult. So I cornered Mel afterwards, and I said, you know, these are some of my videos here that you're showing. And she said, you've got to come to the next show and tell your story. So here I am. Now, I've never done anything like this before, but I told Mel, hey, I'm willing to try new things, you know, which is kind of how I got involved in a cult. All right, this was way back, ancient history, 1967. I was 21 years old. You can do the math from there. Living in LA, I was working as a commercial artist and living up in Sierra Madre Canyon, which is up north of LA. It was kind of a hippie art area. And the world was a mess back then, as it is now, as it is today. But we had the Vietnam War, we had race riots throughout the U.S., we had anti-war demonstrations. It was a mess, and I was trying to figure out, like a lot of kids were in those days, okay, what is this all about? What is life all about? What is our purpose in life? How can we make things better? You know, answers. And full transparency here, there were some drugs involved. Funny thing about LSD. This was my experience. When you're on acid, you know all the answers. It's all laid out for you there. You see all the connections, and you're like, yeah. You can see all the answers, all the wisdom of the universe is just laid out for you. The next day, you can't remember any of it. So I said, okay, I'm going to game the system. When I'm on acid, I'm going to write everything down. Right? So I did. And just page after page after page, just writing. I thought, this is it, I'll have everything. Of course, I woke up the next day and looked at it, and I'm like, what? It was the ravings of a madman. So yeah, I was searching for answers. And okay, I knew drugs weren't the answer, so I was studying Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, Zen Buddhism, yoga, psycho-cybernetics, you name it, pouring through these books trying to find the answers. And a lot of my friends were into everything you can think of, you know, astrology, tarot card readings, channeling. I had a girlfriend, Pam, who had a Ouija board. You know what a Ouija board is. Yeah. It's got all of these letters and numbers on it, and then there's this pointer, and everybody puts their hand on the pointer, and it spells out messages from the beyond, you know, from the spirit world, supposedly. Well, Pam just ran this thing solo. She just ran it herself. And she's telling me these messages that are coming from the spirit world. And she had one spirit that she liked a lot, which was, his name was Prester John. She would ask Prester John questions, and he would answer. And the interesting thing was, his answers made a lot of sense. And which was odd, because Pam was kind of flaky. And I was certainly flaky. So I think of the three of us, Prester John was the sanest. I think he had it. Anyway, so I'm searching, reading books. My friend Jerry comes in. And he says, "You've got to come with me to this place down in LA. It's just so exciting. It's hundreds of people and so forth." I said, "Okay, let's go down there." So we go down to 9th Street in LA, near MacArthur Park. Big 2-story house, huge, and there are hundreds of people coming in and out and talking and reception, going into the course rooms and out of the course rooms and the lecture halls, and just so much excitement. Everybody talking to each other, everybody excited. And right there in the middle of the reception area, place of honor, was a big bronze bust of L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, it was Scientology, which was totally different in those days, by the way. If you go down to their place, it's only about 6 blocks away up here on 3rd. You go into their place, God help you. It's empty. There's nobody there. There's a couple of staff that kind of creep around, and if you ask, they'll show you a video, but that's about it. But back in '67, it was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, just, and tons of excitement. So, so Jerry and I went into the lecture hall. We're going to hear this guy. And a guy named Seton Thomas, very handsome young man, very charismatic, piercing eyes. And he explained to us all about the state of clear. And he said, all this trauma that you've had all of your life, and in your past lives, by the way, all of this trauma, you just have to clear all that away and erase all that, and then you become a clear. So you reach the state of clear. And then you have fantastic memory, you have fantastic health, you never get sick, you have incredible intelligence, And she showed us these films of L. Ron Hubbard, black and white films of him talking. Jolly man, very charismatic, laughing, ho-ho. And it was, he tells us, he was an explorer. He studied all of these primitive races and societies and things. He was a war hero. He was injured in the war and healed himself with his own techniques. Of course, it's all bullshit. But we didn't have the internet in those days, right? If they tried that nowadays, somebody would just pull up his naval record on their iPhone and say, "Excuse me, it says here Hubbard was a lousy officer and he was never in combat." But we didn't have the internet, so we're like, "Oh yeah, cool man, sounds groovy." So, people always ask me, "Wasn't it weird? Scientology, wasn't that weird?" And I say, "Yeah, I wanted weird. I was up for weird in those days." People say, "Keep Portland weird." I wanted to keep my life weird at that point. Be careful what you wish for. So I went into the bookstore, and they had these nice introductory books there, Scientology, The Fundamentals of Thought, Scientology, A New Slant on Life. And I spotted one way up in the back, and it was called A History of Man, and had a galaxy on the cover. And I was like, "I want that one. That's the one I want." And the guy said, no, you can't. That's for advanced students. You don't want to read that one. You want to read one of these down here. I said, "No, that's the one I want. I want the one up there." Took it home. It is the wildest book you ever want to read. It says, history of man. This is a cold-blooded and factual account of your last 60 trillion years. And it had everything. Spaceships and galactic civilizations and all of this strange stuff going on. I was just transfixed, of course. And I got sick to my stomach. And I had to go in the bathroom and throw up. But here was my thought process at the time. I said, wow, if a book can have that effect on me, there must be some meat to it. This was really what I was thinking. So I started going down there. And going down there every night, start taking some courses, and they had this big chart on the wall, huge chart. And all these steps and layers and things like that. And way at the top it said, operating Thetan. And I'm like, what's that, operating Thetan? That sounds cool. And they said, well, Thetan, that's a spirit like you. You're a spirit, you're a Thetan, Thetan, Thetan. And they said, operating, that means you can operate without your body. Go places, see things, and then when you die, you just go pick up another body, and you're fully conscious and so forth. And I'm like, that sounds cool to me. So what do I have to do? I have to do all these steps, right? All these steps. You have to get up in these top levels. These are confidential. Nobody knows what's in them. Of course, you can look them up on the internet these days, which, by the way, is why they're empty over there. You know, because everything's on the internet, so they've got no more mystery to sell. So I said, okay. Started on that ladder going up. Well, about that time, my draft board decided that they wanted to send me to Vietnam, and I didn't want to go to Vietnam. And so I did some traveling, and I went over to England, went to the Scientology headquarters there, joined staff, became a staff member, went to Edinburgh, Scotland, went to Copenhagen, and eventually got down to the Mediterranean, where L. Ron Hubbard had a ship, and I got to meet L. Ron Hubbard and work with him. Now that's a story for another time. So time goes by, I ended up at the international headquarters of Scientology in Hemet, California. And I was in charge of all of their marketing and advertising. So that's when I did all those videos. You're welcome. But Scientology got worse and worse and more abusive and more cult-like as the years went on. I know, it's a surprise, a cult becoming cult-like, but they did. They became very cult-like. And I ended up out in their, in a fenced compound out at their international headquarters, a prisoner, and they had declared me a suppressive person, which is an evil being, and shunned by everyone. So I left. This was 12 years ago. Left the whole organization. Anyway, so I think that the point is, you know, we're all looking for answers. We all want to know, well, why is all this happening? What's the meaning of life? What's our place in it? And I guess my only advice would be to watch out for the guy who has all the answers. Watch out for that yellow brick road to utopia, where he's got it all taped, or he's got it all put up on a nice, neat chart for you to follow, because the truth is, if you follow somebody else's path, you're going to end up where he wants you to be, and not necessarily where you want to be. And when you come down off of that high, you just might find that all that supposed wisdom and knowledge is just the ravings of a lunatic. Thank you.
Woo!
minutes here. Jeff, if you want to grab the mic. So, how long were you in the church?
I was in the church for 35 years.
35 years in Scientology. And, yeah, and so you were on that yacht with L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes, I was.
Oh my gosh. And also, you did not get along with David Miscavige, I hear.
The current leader, no, he hated me. Absolutely hated me.
Jeff, I hear that you have written a book about your experience in the Church of Scientology. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Jeff, are you going to be selling those books after the show at a table right over there?
I just happened to bring a box of books.
Oh my gosh.
Counterfeit Dreams, you can get on Amazon too.
But it's cheaper here. And Jeff is here, and yeah, so Jeff's going to be tabling with his book, Counterfeit Dreams, which is amazing. I read it just in one afternoon. I mean, 35 years in the Church of Scientology. You don't want to miss this. So he's going to be selling them for way cheaper than Amazon has them, and he'll answer all of your questions about magic underwear as it pertains to the Church of Scientology. Jeff, what other projects do you have going on?
Well, I want everybody to be aware of Leah Remini's show on A&E. Wonderful show, and she's a very brave woman. She was in Scientology since she was a kid. And since she's been out of Scientology, she has been producing this show called Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath. And it's interviews with people who have been in Scientology and who experienced abuse, telling their stories, and it's now in season 2. I appeared in season 1, but Leah, very brave, wonderful woman, and you should watch her show.
And you're in season 1.
I'm season 1.
You're season 1. Okay, cool. I was telling someone you were season 2, and they're like, I sure don't remember that guy, but okay. But yeah, season 1. And yeah, it's a really powerful show, and I think like all that stuff about groupthink and like not following the guy that has the yellow brick road, that's so pertinent right now. So thank you for sharing your story, Jeff. All right. Who wants to win some candy? Who wants some candy? Yeah, boy, what up?
Oh, are we crop? All right.
Yeah, well, I just did that because I'm an artist.
That's right.
So,
Sure are. Oh, we did get cups for the Kool-Aid. I was backstage thinking like, we did not provide good hosting material. But we did. Please feel free to drink our Kool-Aid.
here's a fun fact. Sarah and I, not only sister wives, also roommates.
Also roommates and best friends. No,
But this is how our dynamic is.
yes.
Like every night, it's like, Mel, did you lock the house?
Are we gonna get murdered in our bed as 2 women living?
Mel, did you remember to wear pants outside the house? And I'm like, no, thank God I live with Sarah. What's your sign?
Libra.
Ha-ha!
Yeah. Who else is a Libra in here? No, one person. That makes sense. It does make sense.
There's
Be a
no
woman in our
Libras
bed.
here. You're like, I don't need to know. I already know.
Yeah.
I don't need
Feel
to
the
know.
energy.
Well, I'm a Cancer. I think it's obvious. So, who wants to play a game?
Who wants to play a game?
Yeah,
All right.
get up here. Yeah.
Yeah!
Come on.
Give it up for a volunteer. Sorry, saved it! You saved it! Give it up for him!
You guys, that's actually a really perfect metaphor for if you get mixed up in like organized religion or any other kind of group that like really takes away your autonomy. Is like you may stumble, but you can get back up again.
Yeah, I can get back up.
All right, sir. What's your name?
Devin.
Hello, Devin.
Hi.
Hi, I was raised Mormon.
Oh! Yeah! Give it up! High fives and hugs. Yep. We got it. We got it. Are you trying to marry that man in front of the rest of us right now?
Are you a returned missionary?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You went some.
Instead, I chose to get kicked out of my parents' house. So,
Your parents' house?
yeah,
You have a new place to stay though, right?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
yes. That was
good.
many years ago.
Did you get your temple recommend?
I did. In
yeah.
fact, when I got kicked out of my parents' house, I did not leave the church.
Oh.
And so once I got married to the girl that I got kicked out for being in a relationship with. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we actually got sealed in the temple, so I have been through the whole spiel.
So why did you get kicked out of your parents' house then? Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah. All right, that makes sense. I'm the only one who needed to ask that question. The rest of you got it.
There are not a lot of Mormons who get kicked out of the house for a heterosexual relationship. That's special.
Congratulations.
All right, we're gonna play a game. All right, so this is who said it? Joseph Smith, L. Ron Hubbard, or Jim Jones. The quote goes as follows: "You don't get rich writing science fiction. If you want to get rich, you start a religion." Who said it?
That would be Mr. Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Jimmy!
Hey, yes, it's true. Not, Sarah, my hair's caught in the dress. Can you help me out?
It's so far up there!
Is the video playing yet?
You guys when Mel found this last night at a Goodwill on Lombard in Northeast, she texted me photos modeling it, like so stoked. You didn't know that dress was gonna be the death of you.
No, I didn't. Just wait till later tonight. Wait till later tonight. I'm going to Stag after this.
Mel, say what, everyone.
Oh, that's right, I have to leave the stage. Okay.
Should we uncross here?
You know what? I have never done this before.
Situation, everything. Like,
Oh no, it's worse. We are professionals. Thanks, guys. We're so professional. All right. Okay. This is how we treat our men too. The one man that we share. Okay. It's not a real thing. Are you guys ready for your? Okay. So we just have a couple performers left for you guys tonight. Pulse check. How are we feeling right now? Yeah, we're good. You guys aren't too bummed out. How about this? Clap if you are a religious survivor. Yeah? Okay, a bunch of you. Okay, so you're all on board with this stuff that's going on here tonight. Okay, your next performer runs an open mic every Friday at the Hot Box called Leg Day, and they were in the Portland Queer Comedy Festival. We're so thankful that they're here. Please welcome Karina Allen!
Hello! Good to be here. I like being in Portland. I think Portland's an interesting city because it's a city where being gay and being Christian have been reversed, right? Like I had a friend tell me they were Christian the other day, and my response was, "Hey, whatever you do in your own time, that's up to you. No judgments here." I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy, which is not as bad as it sounds. The sex was great, actually, it turns out. Very generous lover, Father Gary. No, he didn't ever do anything weird with me. And I think I figured out why. Because, look, every priest was doing it, but I found out why my priest was the exception. Because he had this deacon that was like his right-hand man, hella subservient. They were fucking. They were definitely fucking. I know that because every day before Mass, they would go into a room in the back of the church. And they'd come out and their shoulders would be all relaxed, you know. Their shirts would be untucked. The deacon had a waddle in his step. Father Gary was slinging dick. That's what I'm saying. You better believe it. He was a Niners fan too, so he'd always let us out of Mass early if there was a Niners game going on, which I thought was a little bold. Because what if God's a Raiders fan, you know? What are you gonna do? You're gonna invite the fury of a sports fan God? We're all gonna get let out of mass early, and we're gonna get confronted by a swarm of locusts in the form of the Raiders logo, you know? There's a slightly smaller swarm in the form of a man in front of them, a drunk man yelling, "Throw the football!" And an even smaller form in front of him is a little girl going, "Daddy, come home." That's what God's gonna send our way. I went to Catholic school for a long time. High school I had abstinence-only education. It was called Free to Be, which I thought was a little too short of a name. They should have called it Free to Be Emotionally Crippled, is what they should have called it. Because that's what happened. It was a shock class. They just showed us just dicks and STDs is what they showed us, just on a loop, which I thought was not very Christian, right? Because look, Jesus had some STDs, okay? That's a fact. He had a band of loyal and devoted followers who thought he was God and no penicillin. Jesus was rocking the clap. You better believe it. That's what was happening. I loved Free to Be. It was great. I really did, because it took place during my scriptures class, which meant I didn't have to read the Bible. It was fucking incredible. I hated reading the Bible. I got to look at dicks and take a nap. It was the ideal class. I loved it. My school had a dress code. We all had to wear collared shirts, which was fine with me because I was already a loser, so I brought everyone down to my level, you know what I mean? It was perfect. But it was just a sea of white people wearing colored shirts. We looked like we should be walking around with tiki torches. That's how we looked. I used to say grace before every meal. We had to say grace before every meal. We had to say, "Bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen." I can't remember my fucking address. I remember that grace. That is bananas. There were so many phrases and prayers you had to remember to be a cool Catholic. A cool cat, I called him. That's what I called him. There was the Our Father, the Nicene Creed. Raiders fans can suck a dick. That might have been Father Gary, actually, on retrospect. That might have just been Father Gary. Had to go to vacation Bible school. It was like a Bible-themed summer camp. It was fun. If your idea of fun is being a virgin forever, that was totally fun then. It was totally great. Like, come on. It was kind of fucked up, my parents, right? Because I was already a weird, awkward kid. Now they're going to make me sing songs about faith and make Jesus lanyards. How am I going to carry on the bloodline? Got confirmed. It was like the last, confirmation is for Catholics, it's like the last step in becoming like an adult Catholic. I was a junior Catholic until then. I hadn't gotten my merit badges, you know, so I hadn't quite gotten up to there. I had to take confirmation class, which was kind of weird. Confirmation class was just a dude with a glass eye reading us the Bible. And I know that sounds like a story, but that was like the confirmation class leader's shtick, is he had a glass eye, and he would just take it out as a goof, a fun little goof. I did not think it was funny. Until he told me that he lost his eye to a weed whacker. Then I thought it was hilarious, you know? Fucking hilarious. I didn't want to get confirmed, but I realized that I didn't want to get confirmed after the party was planned by my stepmom. And she was all about parties, so she was not going to let me back out of that shit. If I had tried to back out of my confirmation, she would have chloroformed me, created a life-size replica, and thrown the party anyway. That's what would happen. She was that kind of person, you know? I came out to my folks when I was, this is before I came out as trans. I came out as gay. It's been a whole whirlwind for them. They've been really dealing with a lot of shit. I was in a fraternity when I came out to my folks. I was living that macho life, you know? I was working out a bunch. My chest was huge, but not in the way I wanted, you know? Not quite in the right way. That's right, okay. The low-hanging fruit, you gotta go there, am I right? See, I was worried because my dad's family was like super macho. Like, they're super macho. Like, they're into sports and beef. That's kind of their thing, you know? That's what they're into. So when I told my stepmom that I was gay, she treated it like it was the start of her Lifetime movie, right? Like the noble saint comes down from heaven and engages with a sinful butt pirate. That's what she does. She told me, I'm just worried about God. I'm like, yeah, I'm worried about God too. He's not real and we're all gonna die. That's fucking terrifying. I'm also worried about that. Where have you been? When I came out to my mom, she was better, but she said that she was worried that I was gonna get HIV. As if announcing that I was gay would invite the virus into my body. I don't understand what that was supposed to be about. Mom! I'm 27 years old, I gotta stop bitching at my mom, I think. I've reached that point where I need to stop. My family was super, super, super conservative though. Like, the only way my dad could get my stepmom to come was by whispering tax reform in her ear. That was the only way that she would come. It's the only way. The only way my dad would come was by wearing a diaper, but there was nothing political about that. It was just what he was into. The biggest thing with growing up Catholic is the sexual oppression. That is a huge thing. Like porn, I can't watch porn regularly. Like I watch gay porn, you know, like porn, 2 dudes, 2 dicks. It's the kind of porn that I can relate to, right? Because I can't relate to a porn unless I can feel the bottom's pain. That's kind of what I need to relate to a porn, you know? And I can't watch cis girls with vaginas doing anal because, look, anal's my bread and butter, but it's a fucking adventure for them, alright? Like the dude pulls his pants down and she's like, oh my god, it's so big. I don't know if I can take it. Sack up and take the dick, alright? Grow up! And I can't watch trans porn. That shit is sad. They always use the worst terms like tranny and she-male. Like I had a dude call me a tranny once, and his justification was saying, hey, that's what they call you in the porns. I was like, all right. But you can't use that justification for any other group, right? Like you can't walk up to an 18-year-old and say, hey, barely legal slut, how's it hanging? How's things going for you? Now, I can't relate to the girls in those porns either because I know they're not on hormones. I know they're not on hormones because their dicks are fucking rock hard. That has not been my experience. Like you've heard of whiskey dick, right? I have estrogen dick. It's the exact same thing, except your nipples hurt also. That's the difference. My dick is a bundle of nerves attached to a pile of linguine. That's what it is. Like, can be used, but it's sort of hard, and it's tender. That's why I'm getting the surgery, y'all. I'm getting my dick taken off, and I'm getting it replaced with a scale model of the Sarlacc pit. That's right. My pussy's gonna be full of dental scavengers. You better believe it. Hey, have a great night, everyone.
Karina Allen! Oh, I forgot the prizes. We were not.
Yeah, you know, hello. Hi. So I feel really like it's very appropriate that we've had both Star Trek and Star Wars references tonight because cults are nothing without galactic fantasy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay. All right. Sarlacc pit.
We are going to call 2 people up for this game, and you get double prizes. We've got a religious candle for you. And then the horrible dollar store candy that everyone else has been getting. So, just for, oh yeah, there's like jeweled bug brooches in there.
They're jewels?
Yeah.
Why are we giving these away?
I mean, I took 2 for us, so
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
We get to do that. Okay, now you get to pick the volunteers.
Okay, only the best volunteers this time around. Everyone's
No.
I'm
The
sorry,
volunteers before were great.
Wow, I'm so sorry. I assign value to my ghost.
This is how she
also,
treats the rest of us
okay?
sister wives too.
I know. I'm like, only the best one gets to plow a field with me. Okay, I need you. Come on, light them up. Yeah. All right. Whoa.
All right. Okay, gentlemen.
Hey,
so
I have to
let's-
ask you a question right off the
Mel's
bat.
gonna go first.
How are my bangs doing?
Like she does in bed too, it's fine.
They look sharp. They're great.
Thank you. Wow, thank you.
Wait, what's his name?
What's your name?
Benjamin Dewey. That's my name.
Benjamin.
Benjamin Dewey does have compliment hair. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, what is your name?
My name's Gabriel Fisher.
Gabriel Fisher. And Benjamin didn't catch.
That's okay.
Okay,
We're
alright.
brothers.
Your brother? Yeah, you are. Are you guys twins? I feel like we got tricked with you guys.
Hey, do you guys want to go to Stag after this?
I like beards. No.
Just saying.
A Taurus and a Libra. All right, I'm down.
What's your sign?
I'm a Gemini.
Guys, did you know this was a live dating event too when you came here?
Okay, I just want to let you know. So I'm a queer person, and queers replace religion with astrology. Right? Right? Yes. Yeah, we use it to explain all of our sociopathic behavior. It's very convenient. Very convenient. Okay.
Which is applicable to the game we're about to play. Okay. So, who wants to go first? Sir. Yeah.
I'll go first.
Benjamin will go first. Okay, so this quote, who said it? Joseph Smith, L. Ron Hubbard, or Jim Jones? The quote is, what you need to believe in is what you can see. If you see me as your friend, I'll be your friend. If you see me as your father, I'll be your father. For those of you that don't have a father, if you see me as your savior, I'll be your savior. If you see me as your God, I'll be your God.
All that dad talk sounds very Jim Jonesy.
Chitty suck, it's Jim Jonesy. Yeah, so we've got a candle and a bag for you. I'd like to know how you knew that Jim Jones had a father fixation. Okay. Okay, hey, how's it going over here? How do you feel about what's happening?
Ben's a good hugger, I know from experience.
Oh, how do you know that? Okay, but hugger is a euphemism or like...
I'm just going to say I'm on my 8th
Listen,
pregnancy
this is a
now.
cold show, man. Like, you gotta know what you're saying. Okay, let's get on to the next question. Okay. Let's find a good one. Okay. Okay, so the quote. I have high hopes of smashing my name into history so violently that it will take a legendary form even if all books are destroyed. Who said it? Legendary form.
Wait, can I ask a quick question?
What's your question?
So Mary Kay is not on the list.
You know, I'm pretty sure that she also said something like this, yeah.
I agree.
For sure.
Carry on.
I'm gonna say Joseph Smith.
It was actually L. Ron Hubbard! Oh no! That's okay, you still get your prize for coming to my stage. Give it up for Benjamin and Gabe. Brothers and sister wives, ladies and gentlemen!
Yes.
Okay, Mel, is there anything else we want to talk about?
Is there anything else I want to talk about?
Yeah.
I just want to tell you guys an origin story real quick of Mormontown.
Oh, which Mormontown?
It's like a very dark memory for me. I know you've heard a lot of dark things tonight. But here's where it really broke for me. I was 8 years old. It's Sunday, right? We're coming home from church. I'm like, Mom, I'm so hungry. Mom.
Wait, are you like wanting to go out to eat after church?
Well,
that's
Sarah,
not
I think
allowed.
that you need to listen to my full
All
story
right,
before you
come
make
on.
judgments.
Jumping ahead.
I'm telling you what, because I'm just a hungry child
Sure.
and a mother needs, you know, as Terry said, that's your first instinct. There should be, if you're a good human, is feed
But
your
you
child.
got the bread and the water in sacrament, so like what's the problem? A little
I
tiny
was a
piece of
fat
bread
child and I
the
needed
size of
more.
your thumb. Okay, please, all right, go ahead.
So I'm like, Ma, I'm hungry. I'm dying. I need food now. And the only thing I wanted was my favorite food, a cheeseburger from AMPM.
Oh, not allowed, ladies and gentlemen. Not allowed to spend money on the Sabbath.
But here's the thing. My mom, she was kind of wackadoodle.
Oh, she broke the Lord's rule?
Yeah, she was also in a channeling cult.
Okay.
I am Mormon, but so she let me go to AMPM and she gave me $1 to go in and get my cheeseburger.
Oh,
and I
no.
did, and I was like, best moment of my life!
The AMPM cheeseburger was the best moment of your life.
Except for living with you, Sarah.
That's right.
And I sat back down in the Chevrolet, I was like, okay, Mom, I got my cheeseburger. I'm ready to go. Life's cool. And she turned to me and she said, never tell anyone about this.
You're all culpable in this deceit now. Do you understand that?
And I was like, whoa, Mom, it just got real.
Oh, boy.
You just said the same thing to me that you do every time you drink a Diet Coke.
Also not allowed to do Diet Coke.
Cool, guys.
Yeah.
It's just not cool. So anyways, I wanted to tell you about my dark roots.
Cool.
Now you know. But anyways, I have to go to the lactation station.
Okay.
The other babies are hungry.
How are they doing? How are these?
You know, they're kind of heaving tonight. I think I got about half a gallon I need to express.
Getting used to the polyester feel.
Yeah, it kind of, the chafing helps me understand like the thorns of Jesus's, and the sweat is like the sweat of the Lamanites when they were in Mexico and Jesus was like, whoa!
It's hot down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it, you know, so, but anyways, I love you guys, I gotta go, you know, so.
Okay. Are you guys ready for your final performer? Are you ready? Let's do it. Are you ready? I am so happy that we were able to get this person to come down here. They are from Seattle. They run, and did I hear a woo for Seattle? They run an amazing show up there called Weird and Awesome. You should check it out if you go up there. They were named as Seattle's funniest person, and the Met Mag called them one of the 7 reasons why Seattle is funny. Please give it up for Emmett Montgomery.
Let's make a joyous noise for everybody we have seen. Fantastic. This is such a wonderful show of testimony, and it's been really fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I am like most of us in the room, apparently, an ex-mo or a foreman. If you will, for those Gentiles in the audience that are unfamiliar with what Mormonism is, it is an American religion that was started in the east coast of this country, where a bunch of people decided they were going to live and love and worship the way they wanted to. And so these brave, rebellious, pioneer spirits walked across the country until they found a place that nobody else wanted. And then immediately, as soon as they got there, sat down and started writing a whole bunch of rules to follow. Like that's what Mormonism is, that combination of rebellion and conformity just fucking each other at the same time. That's essentially what it is. And I am from a place called Orem, Utah. There are a few Oremites here. And in a county called Utah County in Utah Valley. It's in Utah. And if you were to have a world religion map, there would be just a dense dot of Mormonism, and the center of that would be essentially my house, where I grew up. My hometown, when I was a youth, 90% Mormon. So it was a monoculture. So everybody kind of believed the same thing. Unlike some people who live outside of Utah and are Mormons, they know what weirdos they are. Utah Mormons just think this is the way the world is, you know? And there is something about whenever you really leave any sort of religion or anything, something that you really miss is the luxury of absolute truth. That there is a way that the world is. And there is order to the universe. And yeah, it doesn't make sense, but there is a way. And then you leave. And then you still, though, I think for people who grew up in religion, they're like, well, there has to be some sort of rules to follow out there, right? Like something has to make sense. Like for me, especially leaving Utah, I thought, you know, I'm an outsider from a group of outsiders. I bet once I go outside of Utah, that will make me an insider. Nope. No, to everybody in Seattle, I am from Utah. But now when I go back to Utah, I am from Seattle. And I see what is maybe not normal. And I kind of love it, though, you know. And there are some beautiful things I had growing up Mormon in Utah, specifically some unique Utah Valley problems that I think are great problems. Like we had a gang of troubled youth that would terrorize communities. They were called swing kids, which were BYU students who really liked swing dancing. And you'd be hanging out in your ice cream parlor, right? And a bunch of well-dressed youths in, you know, anachronistic clothing would take over the jukebox and give everybody a show that you just did not want, you know, and that was the sort of youth violence I had to grow up and escape from. But there is a lot. I think people have talked a lot about that, but my biggest problem with Mormonism is that it is a lazy end-of-the-world cult. Like, everyone's getting ready. It's actually the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? Of latter days. We're here waiting. But everyone's comfortable enough that they're fine with waiting. It's like hanging out in an airport but never wanting to get on the plane. It's kind of how you get ready but you're okay. An example, a few years ago, I went home to see my parents, and I was talking to my dad. I'm like, Dad, what's going on? And he's like, well, an interesting thing happened the other day. It was during the summer, and he said, there was a cougar in the mall, like in this outdoor mall in Provo, right by Donny Osmond's house. A cougar, a mountain lion, came in to the mall because what's happening is there's no water and vegetation in the mountains. The snow caps are receding. Like, so, you know, it's getting hotter every year. And so the deer are finding the vegetation where they can, and it's Donny Osmond's lawn, and they're coming out. And then the cougars are following them to eat the deer. And then the Park Service will come, and then they will shrink everybody. The deer, you know, the Osmonds, the cougars, and put them all up in the mountains. I was like, Dad, well then what happens? And they're like, oh, well, then they come down again, and then we do it again, you know? And that's kind of how conservative America solves problems, but it's... And the frustrating thing about it is like here we have people who believe that the world is going to end due to the wickedness of man. And they are denying climate change, which is the thing that they have been asking for a while. It's like, oh, I don't want to open the presents. I just like looking at them under the tree. Like that. You know, I have met some Mormons that are like, let's go apocalypse. But most Utah Mormons are like, this is how the world is. We're just comfortable. It's like, you know, you pee in the pool and it's warm for a while and you feel real good about it. The warmth goes away, but then you're just still in that water because you don't want to get out. You know, and that's, I think, what Mormonism is for my people. The thing is, though, once you leave and people find out you're from Utah, nobody knows really what Mormonism is. Is anybody familiar with the LDS Church? No one is. It's a mystery. And so you get weird questions, and then you realize like that's part of your. And people are like, "Oh, you're a surprisingly good dancer. I didn't think that you people could dance. I didn't think you were allowed to." And it's like, that's all we were allowed to do was dance. That's how we expressed our rage. You know, you go to a church dance, it's beautiful. Footloose was filmed in my hometown. Kevin Bacon is the closest thing we have to a saint. You know, like that's. And those weren't trained extras in that movie. Those were just Mormon kids that they just gave sugar to, and were like, go. I realize even if I want it or not, I am a representative of my people. You know, I'm spreading the good word. And I want to share, and I think my Mormon perspective has made me the storyteller and comedian I am, and I'm glad that I grew up to live that life. I am terrified, though, that it's real. Because I'm worried that I'm going to go to heaven. And as discussed, if you do everything you're supposed to do, you get your own planet. And I used to manage a Hollywood video once, and that was bullshit. And I don't want to be in charge of anything ever again. I hope that heaven is just like a nap, you know, forever. I've been doing a stand-up for a dozen years, and early on in my career, I was part of a comedy collective, and we were producing a show, and it was my turn to host. It was a big deal show. It was a Home for the Holidays Christmas show, and we had some headliners coming in. The argument in the comedy collective was that I should not host. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, because you're Mormon. And Mormons don't celebrate Christmas. And I said, I'm pretty sure we do. And I said, not like we do. So I decided that was my opportunity for a teaching moment. That's when I needed to spread the good word and show them how Mormons celebrated Christmas. So I opened the show with a traditional Mormon Christmas prayer, where I asked the sound people to put an ascending echo in my microphone. We had some red gels that slowly turned on, and I put on my traditional Mormon prayer mask. You know it. And I gave a prayer, you know, to the one in red who sits atop his icy throne upon the top of the world with his book of judgment before us. And, you know, he who walks through fire, you know, and it was great. And people laughed, and I think they got it, but then after the show, after I got off stage, several people came up to me and said, thank you so much for sharing the ways of your people. That was really brave. Then I started thinking about that prayer. For years, that Christmas prayer lived in my heart. And I got an opportunity to do some character-based comedy shows. And I thought, in fact, here for a New Works Festival, the Fertile Grounds Festival, which is a fantastic thing. And I was like, I want to meet a true believer. Somebody who loves Christmas. Somebody who is devoted. And all of the religion, all the absolute truth that I missed came flooding back when I met my friend Sugar Plum Gary. And I know this has been a long night with lots of love, but if it's okay with you, I would like to introduce you to my friend Sugar Plum Gary as we celebrate the joy of Christmas. So if you could just open your hearts for Sugar Plum Gary. this very special Christmas show. I always like performing on Christmas shows. Okay, I can see that some of you are looking at me and going, hey, Shug, which is what my friends call me. And I say, hey, you know that it's not Christmas, right? And then I say, it is to me. Because Christmas is in my heart. And my heart is in my body. And if my heart wasn't in my body every day, I'd die. I used to not believe in Christmas. Back at the Rankin Bass Home for Unfortunate Children, the orphanage where I grew up, I thought that Santa was just a lie that rich kids could afford to believe in. But then, one magical Christmas Eve, Santa came to visit. And I was the only survivor. And that's when I learned that the magic of Christmas is real and ancient and as deep as the space between the stars. And that's when I stopped being just Gary and found my Christmas name, Sugar Plum. Because of all the visions that now dance in my head. And now I travel the world and this room, learning and sharing about Christmas. So, does anybody have a question about Christmas?
Jewish kids.
What about the Jewish kids? Are you familiar with the concept of the beach? It's a fantastic place where land meets sea. I highly recommend you check it out. And there's this thing that happens called the tide. The tide will go out and you'll have all this beautiful wet sand. And you can build a sand castle and get your toes moist, and it's fantastic. But then that tide comes back in, and then the tide goes out again. And that sand castle is gone. Do you think it matters what religion the sand was? Does anybody have a question about Christmas? I think I have time for one more.
What's the best gift you've ever received?
Oh, okay, I see. Quick, who here in the room has gotten presents from Santa on Christmas? I'm about to blow your minds. Santa did not bring you those presents. Your parents did. Because with Santa, it's not so much what he gives us, it's about what he doesn't take away. And the best gift that anyone can get is the gift that I see that you all got this Christmas, which is today. And And I hope that most of you get next Christmas, which is tomorrow. And that gift is just waking up. Merry Christmas, everybody. I'll be in the back selling Halloween masks. I've made some Nightmare Grandpas. Thank you.
Okay, so Emmett and I grew up in the same city, you guys. Orem, Utah. Who here has heard of Orem, Utah? Nobody. Nobody's heard of Orem, Utah. And we didn't meet until we grew our like little baby selves up and moved to the Pacific Northwest, hundreds of miles away. So yeah, and then he was on our show tonight. I feel like that's like some kind of weird Mormon fate. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I did. Jefferson wanted to let whoever the spy is at the Scientology church sent
Sure, yeah.
to watch the show.
You're here, for sure.
Just come up to the book table and have a little chit chat afterwards. He'll fill you in on, what he's doing, what his plans are, current website links. So you don't have to be sneaky about it. We know you're here.
Yeah.
Just, grab a cupcake. We're all and have some punch.
We'll have sure Plum Gary sort you out if you cause trouble. So, yeah.
That was our show, and I can't.
That was our show. Thank you. We have merchandise and cards and stuff in the back for you to take a look at. We have an email sign-up list. If you would like to put your emails down, we will not spam the shit out of you. We'll just ask that you, subscribe to the Mormon religion. It's fine. Put your email down there if you'd like to hear news about our upcoming shows and maybe projects.
And one quick note. I know you guys all are like, I gotta watch that video that I didn't get to
yeah,
watch.
we're gonna put it up on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
Find Cold Status on Facebook. We'll put our video up there. Let's welcome our performers back onto the stage.